Dazzy's here and we're going to be making one of his beautiful creations. What have you got in store for us today?
Jazzy, I'm going to make you a Napoleon cake.
Oh, Napoleon cake.
Yeah,
nice.
This is something that is Russian of origin, but there are French versions. We're going to be making a beautiful cream with squaccheroni cheese. It's great in desserts. But essentially, this cake is just two components. So it's pastry and it's just this beautiful silky cream.
Oh, all right. Well, let's get started then.
Okay, so we're going to make the pastry first. And really simple as well. I've got some flour here and I'm just going to pop it into a bowl.
Just some plain flour.
Plain flour, that's correct. We don't have to sieve it.
Great. I know you always say it's just two components, really easy, but pay attention because you always put your little twist there.
Trust me, this is simple.
Okay, great.
In here, we've got some butter and we finely grated it from frozen. So we're just going to add it in.
Why do you freeze it and then grate it?
So what we want to do when we're freezing it is so that we can mix it into our flour and we haven't got too many butter lumps. We're going to ensure that this is not overworked in any way.
Right.
So this is a really easy flaky pastry. So we need some liquid for our pastry, please, Jazzy.
Sure.
So in a little bowl, if you could put some water, 1 egg, and we're going to use some white vinegar as well.
Okay, why do you add vinegar to your pastry?
Okay, that's going to help make it really flaky.
Right.
Yeah, and it does help create layers and help create steam and give you a really light pastry. Because we do want flaky layers of pastry, vinegar works really well. And I've just rubbed that grated butter until I've got rid of all of the lumps. Pop that in.
The whole lot?
Yeah, chuck it all in at the same time. I'm just going to use my fingertips to bring this together. And we're going to try and not overwork this too much.
Yeah, of course you can do it in the food processor.
You can.
But if you want those results that Darren is talking about, this little effort makes a difference. I also think there's so much pleasure in using your hands when you're making pastry like this. Yeah.
It's so therapeutic,
Yes.
you know? We're literally just going to bring it together. And as you can see, it's come together now.
I think that's why you're so happy, because you bake a lot.
I think so. So I'm just going to put that onto the bench.
Yeah, I'll get that out of your way.
Just give that a quick work.
Yeah, it's come together nicely.
Yeah, it's good. And you can see little bits of butter in there still. But really a very simple recipe.
And as always, this needs to be chilled. We can't start rolling it out straight away.
Yeah, but do you know what? About 15 minutes and this is ready to go.
Yep.
And that's because the butter was frozen in the first place. So this dough is actually really cold.
Yes.
And also, it's not going to spring back because we haven't overworked it.
Yep. Very
So
nice.
probably 15 minutes in the fridge,
All
and then we're ready to roll.
All right, what's next?
Okay, next we're going to make the star of this show, which is the really silky cream. So we've got mascarpone and we've got squaccheroni, which is an amazing cheese from the Emilia-Romagna region of northern Italy.
Yes.
And it's used in dessert making, but it's really silky smooth. It's almost custardy in texture as well. So it's just going to add so much richness to our cream.
You've always got my attention when there's gooey cheese around, and that looks, just by feeling it, super gooey.
It's awesome. I love this stuff so much.
Great.
Okay, so I'm going to pour some milk into this saucepan and we're just going to bring it up to a boil.
Okay.
And then in a bowl to get 2 egg yolks, 2 eggs.
Yes.
And then add some sugar, plain flour and corn flour to the bowl.
Okay. Plain flour and corn flour. So usually when I make a custard, I only use corn flour. Plain flour too.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a mix of both.
Right.
And if you can scrape in vanilla pod as well. So essentially we're making pastry cream here.
Yeah.
But we're going to enrich it at the end with some butter, the 2 cheeses, and we're going to add a little bit of cognac in there just for some luxurious flavour at the end.
I love cognac. Cognac, not just for savoury dishes, but the sweet dishes. It just always reminds me of my grandmother's desserts. I don't know why. She would always put just a little splash of cognac in there.
Sounds like fun back in your childhood.
I know. Well, yeah, as kids we would have it too, but it would only be a splash for that beautiful perfume that comes from cognac. It's
exactly.
gorgeous.
It really does add an extra dimension because it's fairly simple. Essentially, we're just making a custard, and the flavour we've got in there is the vanilla and the cognac, but we're enriching it with those 2 cheeses, and those 2 cheeses are not very strong in flavour, but they add such a great texture.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to give this a bit of a mix.
Go for it. Yep.
All right.
But we don't have to whisk the hell out of this, do we?
We don't have to whisk
No.
the hell. All
No.
we're going to do is just get rid of some of those flour lumps.
Yes, yes.
Because once they're in, they're in. Okay, that's mixed up well. Milk's ready. If you could pop that into there, give it a mix. Excellent.
There we go.
Now we're going to transfer all of this back into that pan
All right.
and just give it a cook over the stove, over a sort of medium heat, not too hot, until it all starts to thicken up and bubble and that flour starts to cook out.
And you want to just constantly mix that or whisk that just so you don't get any burning on the bottom there or catching, right?
You can use a spatula if you're quick.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure it's not going to catch. Once it starts to boil and bubble, you're just going to cook it for about a minute, make sure all of those flours are cooked out, and then that cream is done and ready for the rest of the ingredients.
Oh, that's thickened up nicely, hasn't
It
it?
has. That's done now, and we're going to get it into that bowl.
There we go. Give you a hand there.
Thank you. Look at that. This is a great cream, really versatile. You can use this inside eclairs or any desserts, really. Okay, cool. Thank you. We're going to add some butter.
All right.
So we're going to get that in there, and we're going to give it a
Get that out of
mix.
your way.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
I know, the good stuff. Smell this. You could use rum, you could use whiskey. We've got some cognac here, and you can smell that as it hits the pastry cream. It's only a little bit, and it just does add a really great flavour to it. What we're going to do is we're going to enrich this cream with two cheeses. We've got mascarpone, and we've got the squaccheroni, and both of them are soft cheeses. We're going to need all of this cream to assemble our cake.
I love mascarpone.
Yes.
Just nice by itself with figs. But then in a dessert like this, it's just extra luscious.
It's awesome. It's really rich and creamy, great texture, but not a super strong flavour. And that's the same with the squaccheroni as well. And this is a soft cow's milk cheese. And it's going to mix into this really well.
Oh,
The heat of the cream is going to kind of break down both of these cheeses. And it's just got almost a custardy texture.
Exactly,
A little bit like tofu.
Yes.
But it's really great, and I just love this cheese. And I'm just using the spatula to break down those lumps and give this a really good mix. Once those lumps are broken down, as you can feel, a lot of the temperature has come out of that cream.
Yep, just from that cheese. The cheese slowly melting in there.
Exactly. Do you want to have a try of that? Just have a taste.
Got a spoon ready.
Because I reckon it's going to be right up your alley. I thought you'd like that.
Oh, I could just eat a whole bowl of that.
Well, you're not. We've got to make a cake. So I'm just going to put some cling film over the top and just chill this down while we roll the pastry out.
Sounds good. I'll get the pastry. All right, here's the pastry.
Great. It's just been chilled down. Take a knife, please. We're going to cut this into 6 pieces. And then we're going to roll this out super thin, just a little bit bigger than the size of our tin.
Yep.
So we're going to roll 6 pieces of dough.
Ah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like it's a layered cake. So 6 pieces of cooked pastry between all that delicious custard.
Correct, correct.
Yes, I love this.
And look, you don't have to be too exact.
Yep.
There you go. I've got about 6 same size pieces there.
Yep.
And I'll show you how to roll one.
And once we've made our discs super thin, we're going to put them on trays. How long are we going to cook them in the oven for?
12 to 14 minutes on 180 degrees. But we're also going to keep the trim. We're going to cook that as well because that's going to finish the cake at the end.
I have a feeling this is going to be very delicious.
Pastry's cooked, really exciting. The cream has set up, it's firmed, it's lovely, it's
nice
silky
and thick.
smooth. So it's probably the best part now, really, the bit that I love the most, the assembly.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So we've got a springform tin here, and we've just lined it with paper.
Yep.
And all we're going to do is just grab one of our discs.
That looks so good.
Yeah, and put it into the base of the tin.
Oh, like a glove.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're just going to layer this up. So. I'm going to take a spoon of this cream here, and it's probably going to be about 250 grams per layer if you
Right.
want to weigh it off to make sure that you don't run out of cream when you get to the end.
Yeah, that's actually a really good pastry chef's
Yeah.
trick there, just weighing it out so you get those perfect even layers, because there are going to be 6 layers after all.
Exactly. I'm just spreading that cream nice and thin before I add the next layer. Perhaps while I do that, thank you, you could crush up the trim. So we've got the trim of the pastry left over here, and we baked that separately, and we're going to use that to finish the cake at the end. So if you can just use your fingers to crush that up, and we'll reserve that for later.
Oh yes, look at that. Flaky, delightful.
Once we've assembled this, we're going to pop it in the fridge, probably for a few hours.
Yep.
And overnight would be good as well. So whenever I'm making this cake, I usually make it the day before.
Yep.
But definitely you need to give this a few hours if you're making it on the day.
Nice one. All right, we'll get this into the fridge and we'll wait patiently. Well, here it is in all its glory.
Yeah, it's been set. So you want to make sure you make this ahead of time, just so that it kind of sets together, because that cream's got no gelatine.
Yep.
But also you want to kind of soften some of those layers. So you've got crunchy in the inside, a little bit soft and chewy, and you've got set cream.
Oh, you're selling this very well.
All right, just gonna pop this open.
And this is why you need a springform tin.
Exactly,
for this.
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Some of the papers, if you pull the paper off, thank you.
Look at that.
I think I put 3 bits in.
Oh, extra assurance.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
All right, so I'm gonna use a palette knife now. I'm just gonna get it out from the tin on the bottom. We're just gonna lift it up here. Okay, and that's the crumb that was left over that you've crushed up nice and thin. I'm gonna put that on top. So we're using all of that pastry. So there's absolutely no waste there.
Oh, I see what you're doing there. You've gone
Yeah.
around the sides, it's going to stick there.
Push it on the sides.
Look at that. See, nothing's wasted. I like the idea of
it's
that.
awesome.
It's very clever because you've got a beautiful decoration there without adding more ingredients
Yeah,
to
exactly.
it. I've learnt so much just from making this one simple cake. The vinegar in the pastry will get that lovely flaky effect, and also cooking out that cream so it gets really thick, so it holds the cake like this.
Exactly right.
All
yeah.
right, that's for you.
All right, so I'm just gonna pop it onto our cake stand there, and then just thought we could dust some icing sugar on top. What do you think, Jazzy?
I think that's a great idea.
Right.
On it goes, just a light dusting.
Yeah, just a light dusting.
Just on the top.
Pastry chef's flourish at the end there.
A little snow.
I think that looks really cool. You know, it's simple, but it's absolutely achievable. That's my Napoleon cake. Can't wait to have a slice with a cup of coffee.
I think back in the day, Napoleon would have absolutely loved it. I know I will. Can't wait to get into that one. Thank you, Dad.